The UK's new Prime Minister Boris Johnson has just given his first address to Parliament, offering a sweeping, optimistic vision of a Britain without the EU. He outlined his approach to Brexit, rejecting the current divorce deal as, quote, unacceptable, and appealing to Brussels to reopen negotiations. At the same time, he made it clear that he is not afraid of a no-deal scenario.
Prime Minister.
A forthright Boris Johnson making his first address to Parliament as Prime Minister. He repeated his promise to execute Brexit by October 31st under any circumstances.
I would prefer us to leave the EU with a deal. I would much prefer it. I believe that it is possible even at this late stage, and I will work flat out to make it happen. But certain things need to be clear. The withdrawal agreement negotiated by my predecessor has been 3 times rejected by this House. Its terms are unacceptable to this Parliament and to this country.
The European Union, he says, should rethink its refusal to renegotiate.
We must turbocharge our preparation. If they do not, we will of course have to leave the UK without an agreement under Article 50. The UK is better prepared for that situation than many believe.
The opposition says Johnson is setting a dangerous course and has called for a new public vote.
The country is deeply worried that the new Prime Minister overestimates himself. Those recklessly advocating no deal won't be the ones who lose out. If the Prime Minister has confidence in his plan once he's decided what it is, he should go back to the people with that plan.
Earlier, Johnson's cabinet met for the first time. They've been labelled Team Leave, dominated by hardline Brexiteers. Johnson has set his government on course for a tussle with Brussels.
Let's bring in DW's Barbara Vasil, who is standing by now outside of Parliament. And Barbara, Boris Johnson says that this is the first day of a new approach, and it certainly is, isn't it?
It's quite hard line, if that's what you mean, Sarah. And of course, he puts the pistol to Brussels and said, give me what I want, scrap the Irish backstop or else. And or else, it's quite clear, we've heard it, is Britain would crash out of the European Union without a deal, with all the consequences it has for both sides, but particularly for Britain. Of course, Boris Johnson glosses those over. Serious economists here say that a no-deal Brexit could hit the British economy and cause it to lose about £30 billion. But those are figures that Boris Johnson, of course, doesn't want to hear, nor would he mention them. He sort of says it's all going to be great if you're only optimistic enough. That's more or less the position he puts himself in. And we have to ask ourselves, is there any room factually in Brussels for manoeuvre? Is there really any room left for compromise? Or is he, in fact, headed straight into the no-deal Brexit?
Barbara, how is Brussels likely to react, do you think? I mean, you've spent a lot of time there.
Been there, done that, and that, of course, is what Brussels says at this point in time, because we've been through this whole rigmarole. It was Dominic Raab, who's now foreign minister here. He used to be Brexit minister last year, and he was in Brussels at the negotiating table. And they've sort of pulled the Irish backstop force and back and forth and back. And he said, of course, Britain can't accept it. And the EU said, but we have to have it. We have to protect Ireland and keep borders open. And so all these arguments have been exchanged really ad nauseum. I mean, and they've been repeated hundreds of times. So the question really is within Boris Johnson's really very, very sort of new and strict and seemingly harsh red lines, is there actually somehow a bit of room where you could say, okay, we add some embellishment, we make this or that a bit softer, we add a timeline, something that he could then say, yeah, big victory, I can take this home and we can pass this through Parliament. Nobody knows at the moment.
Barbara, what do you think that we could see over the next couple of months domestically on the political front there in the UK? Because, I mean, we have Boris Johnson, for example, firing half of Theresa May's parliament. We also know that he has a divided parliament. There's a lot of speculation that, in fact, what he could want is new elections.
He also has an incredibly divided party, because if you look at this cabinet, it's full of Brexiteers, it's full of hardliners, right-wingers, and the more moderate element that was present under Theresa May, more or less every one of them had to leave and was sacked. So he really made up his mind what he wants from his cabinet, and he has really shown us the direction he's going in. Now, he also knows that he has only a majority of 2. That counts for nothing. Even in the best of times, 2 people would not be present or would not vote for him. So he is really balancing on a knife edge. And many say he's already preparing for snap elections, because he has surrounded himself with people from the Leave campaign, the referendum in 2016, who led him and the campaign to success then. And he wants them to help him to win in a general election. Now, that is a bit further down the road. It might happen maybe in October. If things really are set to explode or implode here in Westminster, it is an absolute possibility.
Barbara Vazel in London. Thank you.